Howdy, welcome back to Dion Talk. This is going to be a rough video for me to make, so I'm ready for when it's over because I think I'm going to need some liquid therapy. It's embarrassing to make this video because of this mistake that I had when it comes to finances and basically life that I didn't realize until I was in my 40s. And that's embarrassing to go that long in life and not figure this crap out. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to be raw and transparent. And laugh at me all you want. I'm not the brightest. What I did do is reach financial freedom and retire at 52 after 12 years of investing. And now I'm retired and I get to goof off. It's been a couple of years now. My goal is to travel and scuba dive everywhere I want to, laugh at all the loud trucks that go by, live on the water, and share my experience with you to try to get you to the same position to where you can do what you want. And this isn't the mistake, but one of the things I've learned is retiring at 52 wasn't early. It was late. And it was because the mistake, and I'm going to get to the mistake early, and then I'm going to cover how I got there. This will be a short video. If you want your questions answered during a live stream, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do live streams that last as long as the questions do. And the intro to those videos, 10 to 20 minutes, is a topic that you might watch, even if you would never watch a 2-hour video. Watch the intro, because I cover a topic like this. But here's the mistake, is I thought financial freedom was about freedom. And that's not it. Financial freedom is about control. And, oh, there's a cat. Don't you attack me. I'm watching you. Sorry, squirrel. It was a cat squirrel. And I don't think people realize how we're being controlled. I didn't until I was in my 40s. Now, part of this I kind of understood. Like the first part, and it's the second half of this that I wasn't sure I wanted to share, and I've been retired from my company that I was at for 2 years now, so I think kind of calling some people out isn't going to cause as much ripples in the water as it would have if I did it right when I left. So don't hang around unless you want to see me actually share something that bothers the F out of me about life in general, and that I learned in my 40s. How ridiculous is that? So the first thing is you're being controlled when you work by the government. Let's start with that. I'm a fan of the government. I was a Marine. I joined the Marines to defend the country. I totally get the idea of we need those 5 layers of defense. We need infrastructure. We need all these things. But let's look at how taxes control you. And let's say you only make a little bit of money. So you want to work at a W-2 and you earn some money, $10,000, $20,000. You're only in the 10 or 12% tax bracket. So that means that in a year, before you can make a penny, you have to work 10 or 12% of that year, January or February, for the government. So if you want to make money, first you have to work for the government to pay the taxes. Now, let's say you actually make money, have a CDL or a degree, or work in a company long enough to be making $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 a year, and you hit that 30% tax bracket. Now you might be in the 22% that most people are in that graduated tax system that we have, but then you have Social Security tax. You have state tax, like California. You can be almost 50% tax there if you're making enough. And so that means for some people, for most Americans, like there's some that work half the year, but most Americans work about 4 months, a third, 30% of the year for the government before you get to make a penny. So this is a bit of control. Then the government steps in and says, okay, we're going to control that money a little bit more. First, you want to retire eventually, so why don't you lock some of this money up behind a paywall called a 401k or a retirement plan where we're going to lock it into your age. We're going to control you to make you work until you're 59 and a half before you can touch this without paying a penalty. And because taxes are going to be more in the future, and there's a Roth version where you can strategize your taxes better and hope that governments don't change anything in the future, because have you met the government? They're always looking out for you. And then you have Social Security, right, tied to an age. And the average American thinks Social Security is there, so I have a better retirement. That's not actually why it exists. The idea of a social program like Social Security came out in Germany in the 1800s by a guy named Otto von Bismarck, probably something I heard from Joe Kuhn here on YouTube, and then looked up myself. But he created a social program to bribe older people to leave the workforce so that younger people could get a job. right? It wasn't so that they would have a better retirement. It was because there was too many people working too long as people lived longer and longer. So there wasn't enough jobs for younger people. So then you have an Agent Clockwork Orange type situation. Don't watch that now. It doesn't pass the woke test. And so we have Social Security there designed to get you out of the workplace, but we tie it to age. We're controlled by age. And then you've got to do your research. And Joe Kuhn just came out with a recent video on picking between when to get your it, and it makes sense to your situation. So I recommend checking that out. He's much smarter than me, probably explained it better than I would. And then we go, let's even control it further with that retirement account. You can't take anything out till 59 and a half, and we're going to control you to that point. But let's say you make it to the age of 72. They're going to control you to say, now you have to take money out. It's, required disbursements. Look at all these ways that you're controlled because you have a job. Whereas financial freedom, having assets pay for your life, I don't work a day of the year for the government. My assets might, right? My tenants do, and they pay property taxes. If you own stocks and you're living off the 4% rule and you've got your assets paying the taxes on your withdrawals, you're not controlled to give that 10, 30% of your time to the government before you make a penny. Right? So this is one of the goals for financial freedom. And I know I'm delaying here, but I really want to cover this story, and I'm just not sure if I can do it in the video or not. So I'm actually gonna do this. I was working at a company. I had been demoted all the way down to president of the company. And other than the person's name who woke me up to this, I'm going to not name the company, although you can put this all together. I have had some kind of management roles, right? I've been in the Marines. I was only a sergeant. I wasn't even a staff NCO or an officer. I was just an NCO. As a truck driver, I was on like the safety committee. In law enforcement, I was, patrol and rescue. I did scuba, but I wasn't, I was in management roles. And I got to this company, got demoted down to president. Now I was company president. I'd never really thought of things like this before. Here's one of the ways that this is what snapped in my mind and turned me into an instant. I want to cuss so bad, and I just don't cuss that much. But this gets me. I've always thought of vacation as the time that you take off of work to go and relax and enjoy life, right? And I had never really done that. I didn't take very many vacations until I was 40. I took a couple of trips that you would call vacations. And then at 40 to 48, I didn't take any because I started investing at 40. And in those first 8 years, I focused, right? No, all expenses, very frugal, no vacations because of the expense, to reach financial freedom. And then starting at 48, I started taking month-long vacations, and then now I'm on permanent forever vacation. So I always thought vacation was you earn, like in the military, you earn a couple of days a month of vacation. So in a year, you earn like 30 days or whatever it is. And each state employee does it. In your company, you work 40 hours, you get so many hours towards vacation. So you accrue vacation, and you can accrue sick time. So you have this. And in my mind, I was always like, okay, that's my time. I've earned it. So what a lot of people do is, most people that I've worked with, especially once I got to that management role, very few people took vacation to take vacation. They took vacation for life, right? They, death in the family, marriage, whatever, going to go see family. It was very rare that somebody took a week off and said, I'm going to go to Hawaii. I'm going to go to Disneyland. I'm going to go to whatever, right? So they would use vacation for life. I didn't even do that. Most of my vacation, you know what I did with it? I sold it to the companies that I worked at, right? Banked up all of that leave in the Marines, hardly ever took any time. And now my weekends were amazing. Don't remember hardly any of them. And I can honestly say I've never been arrested inside the United States. So that's some good memories that I do have. But when I got out, I sold all this terminal leave back and got a big check to get out of the Marines because of my leave that I had accrued. And that kind of carried through to all my other jobs. Even the company that I was demoted to president at, I had never taken a vacation for 8 years working there. I sold it back every time you hit that maximum use it or lose it number that companies come up with. And then this guy comes in. Here's the story. Now I'm going to get to it. I'm going to wrap it up because I don't want this video to go too long. This is where I get embarrassed because I'm in my 40s and I've never looked at vacation like this before. But this guy named Craig came in, a friend of mine, decades-long friend, very different political views, love him like a brother. We can disagree. I don't care. He's stupid, but I love him. Okay, got it out. He worked there kind of because he was my friend. Frepetism, whatever you want to call that, because I had some really terrible jobs that nobody else wanted to do, so I would hire him to do it, like literally crawl in the crawl space of a place and rebuild it so we can have a new campus there. Like, this guy is an amazing worker, good friend. Is that very okay. At least it's not colors, because then I'd stop the video and face the flag. And he came in and he said, okay, I want to take a vacation. I'm his manager, but I'm his friend. It's a bad situation to be in. Hated it. He took his vacation, used it all, had no sick leave, and then wanted to take a week off to go do some traveling or something, because he's got a pretty cool life. Him and his wife are dinkwads, right? Dual income, no kids, with a dog. So they're dinkwads. They've got a lot of money. They goof off. They actually got some rentals. He's one of the 2 people at that company that I worked at that got into rentals. So good job, Craig. You're doing great. He'll never watch this, so I don't care. But he wanted to take that extra week off, and he had used all his vacation, and he had used all his sick time. And in my mind, I was like, absolutely. Why the frick not? I don't use my vacation. I sell it back because it's a monetary exchange. The contract, right, not written, but verbal contract that we have is you work here. The hours that you work here, you get compensated for. While you're working here, you accrue the vacation. You can get promotions. You can become a vice president. You can do whatever you want, like he did. So I say, sure. And then the owners of the company came to me and said, how come? Why for? Why for come it is? They don't have that accent. That's me. They're actually eloquent. Why is this guy taking vacation beyond the vacation that he has? He doesn't have sick time. He doesn't have vacation. Why are we giving him time off? I'd literally never had that thought before in my mind. And I really liked the owners of the company. But I thought, are they just mean? What is this? So I actually, not being, snapbacky, knee-jerk reactions, one of the reasons why I've been able to take leadership type roles is because you don't let your knee-jerk reaction show. Everybody is always wondering, why are you so calm? People are shooting at us. Yeah, but they ain't hitting us. That's when it gets real. So I reach out to managers of companies that my company was working with. We were coordinating with about 1,200 different employers. Right? I had founded a nonprofit that did job placement assistance. And I said, hey, what's your vacation policy like? I like to, tell the people that I'm sending to you what it's like to work there. Can they use vacation? Do they have sick days? Do they have, what do they call, personal health days? I don't know. People don't feel like working that day. And it is actually normal. Now, it was in my 40s that I learned this, and I've known it now for 5-6 years. You're controlled by your company. Not only do you get to take the vacation that you've earned, but most people use it for life or sell it back to the company. And you can use sick time because unions and states and laws and federal regulations that came into play. But most employers won't listen to this, allow you to take non-compensated time off. I think when my son worked at PayPal, if you worked there a certain amount of time, you got to take what was it's not a hiatus, it's some other month off without pay or something to help with retention. I forget what it's called. Mental health day. Thank you, Ricky. Good to see you in the chat. How insane is that? We're controlled by taxes to work a certain amount of the year before we can make a penny. We're controlled by the government to say, if you put money into this account, you have to be this old to take it out. If you get this old, you have to take it out. You can't get Social Security if it's still there. And until a certain age, and it's not designed to make your retirement better. It's designed to get you out of the workplace so there's place for people to go to work when they're younger. Your company owns you like slave labor and says you can't take time off, even if we stop compensating you for that time, which in my brain went, I'm going to cuss. I'm fucking out of here. I don't know that I've said this in a video before. I don't know if I've dropped an F-bomb. But I look at a whiteboard, and this is why I retired. And it was a couple of years before that my brain snapped when I realized. Now, I've been demoted down to a position where I had kind of control of my schedule, so this didn't even impact me. I remember in 2016, 17, 18, sometime I took a month to Colombia, then I took a month to Thailand, and a couple months to Florida for scuba. I did all these things, right, because I was in that position. But it bothered me to my core that we had employees and other companies have employees. And I don't know why I didn't put this together. This is why it's embarrassing. I was in the Marines, right? If you don't show up to formation at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, no matter how good your weekend was, you're AWOL. You literally get threatened with prison time. Well, in Article 15, probably not prison, but you're going to have a crappy year. I never put that together, that it's the same when you work a job for a civilian. So don't make that mistake that thinking financial freedom is about being free to do what you want. It's the freedom to escape the control that you might not even realize you have on you right now. I'm going to go make the rest of my day better, because the best 2 words in the English language are exactly the same as the worst 2 words in the English language. They're just in reverse. Free alcohol versus alcohol free.